Hey everyone, my name is Brad, Vlogging I'm Investing Doc. Today I wanted to talk about why your medical employer may lie to you face to face and what you can do about it. A little story time real quick, and this is nothing negative against the people that I used to work with. They're wonderful people. I used to work for this group, physician employed, physician run, and everything sounds great on paper, right? Well, I do love the people that I work with, but I remember that we lost the contract with the exclusivity of admitting patients into the hospital. And I remember going to the high ups with this company saying, look, I'm not on the board, I don't make decisions. This has got to be bad news, right? And everything was spun like, oh, this is great, 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 whatever. Don't worry about it, basically. One of the other big national groups swooped in and actually outbid us for the contract. Now, I wasn't involved in these contract negotiations, but what's usual if you're taking call at a place is that the hospital basically pays you to take call at that location. Well, this national group came in and said, basically pay us $0. They undercut our group, apparently, quite a bit. My argument to the high-ups of the group is, why would this group keep us around when they're nationally multi-billion-dollar group? Why would they continue to subcontract with us? It makes sense to either buy out the group or push the group out totally. And of course, I kept being reassured, everything's great, now we have a good relationship, don't even worry about it. And of course, you know where this story's going, is eventually the company tried to buy out our company, the high-ups said no. Fine, I respect that they said no, we don't want to get bought out. That's awesome. So the multi-billion-dollar company decided to play dirty. They decided to hire a bunch of locum physicians to fill that role that I was just doing, paying a ton of money to do that, essentially twice what I was getting paid, while they tried to hire up full-time stable doc. Well, it worked. We're in a desirable area. They had no problem hiring over the next year. Next thing you know, our group is more or less getting kind of pushed to the side, where we weren't getting admissions, nearly as many admissions, and then had to rely on the consultants, which were wonderful to us. But our volume dropped significantly. Now, before this all happened, I decided to leave my position with this group and decided to start my own primary care. So I ended up looking a bit like a genius because it almost looked like I was in on it when I had absolutely no idea what was going to happen. But I still remember those conversations. And I still remember those conversations because about a week before all this went down, I was still asking them, are we okay? Everything good? Yeah, everything's fine. And then the news came out saying, no, everything's not fine. We're being essentially pushed out. Where I'm going with this is that whether or not my employer knew, which they probably knew, but if you're not on a board seat and high up in your company, those board members with that company have a responsibility to the investors of that company to protect whatever the assets are of that company. If there's an ongoing deal that is to be had, maybe a buyout, sellouts, private equity, whatever it may be, a lot of times in those contracts, it's written that they can't mention anything ahead of time. Now, my older brother was part of his oil and gas company going public and then selling out for like $5 billion a couple years down the road. But he tells me that one of the hardest things he had to ever do is when he knew that they were going to get sold to another competitor, and he knew that there was a lot of redundant roles and a lot of the people in his department were going to get laid off, that he had to go face to face with these individuals and tell them, everything's fine. I don't know what you're talking about. Everything's good to go. I remember him telling me this story about some guy was basically asking him, oh, is it okay? I'm about to buy this big house. I want to make sure my job is fine. I just want to know and hear it from you that things are fine. And he said that was one of the hardest things he had to do, because it was basically either lie to this guy or tell him the truth, break his responsibility, open himself to massive lawsuits and litigation, and apparently ruining this deal potentially that could go through. So of course he had to tell the guy, I don't know anything, everything's fine, do whatever you're going to do, that's completely up to you. And I think even to this day, if I ask him what was the worst part about running the company, I think he'll probably tell me that's the worst part, is when he knew something was going down and he couldn't disclose it publicly. So where am I going with this? If you don't have a stake in the business that you're currently working for, any of your medical employers, they're going to lie potentially to your face because they have to. Otherwise, they're going to lose their job, they're going to ruin the deal, and they open themselves to significant litigation. Even asking them the question, is everything okay here? Are we good? Is the business good? Am I about to get terminated if we get bought out? They're going to lie right to your face. And you have no idea if they're telling you the truth or not when they say, nah, everything is good. Don't worry about it. So why do I mention this? Well, one, I didn't like that I wasn't in control of my own destiny, so I started my own company. There's a lot of headaches that go with owning your own company and running your own company, but to me it was better always worrying, what are they doing behind the scenes? On the flip side of that, now that I know what's going on behind closed doors, I'm at a point right now where I'm very truthful with people, telling them everything's fine. And one of my employees called me out on it the other day where they said, is it fine? Could you even tell me if it wasn't fine? And I had to look at him and tell him, no, actually, probably I couldn't tell you if it wasn't fine. But I'm telling you right now it's fine, but unfortunately you have no idea if I'm telling you the truth or not. And that's unfortunate. I'm not saying you should go into your relationship with your employer as a dysfunctional relationship, not believing everything you say. But if it's not written in your contract, there's a chance they could screw you over. So the big thing is how to get around this. Well, in your contract, you need to make sure that it is definitely specified what does the buy-in look like for you and what happens if private equity swoops in and takes those shares out before you can even buy in. I think that a company that is very serious about having you as a partner will put some sort of language in there as first right of refusal. Basically, if they love you and you're building up shares and you get vested interest at year 2 or year 3, there's no chance of you getting rug pulled. That in your contract you say, no, those 500 shares that I would be privy to at the end of year number 2, those are mine, first right of refusal. I have to refuse them before the other company can buy them out for me. So there you go. That's a little lesson about how your employer could be potentially lying to you. You have no idea about it. And hope you all have a great week. Next week, I'll be showing you all the new practice that we're about to open. We just started construction on it and pretty excited about that. Have a good one.